Paul, how you doing?
Yeah, great, mate. How you doing?
Yeah, not too bad. Thank you for joining me this afternoon. First thing I want to do is, can you just tell everyone a little bit about yourself and your background, and essentially what we're going to do today for those watching is we want to get into something that I found I struggled so much in the fitness industry with, which was adherence with clients and really clicking into their whys and understanding a lot of these problems that were you know essentially holding them back from getting their results. And then I started to get into this realm, which is NLP and tapping into the deeper why for their clients. So, Paul, can you tell me what brought you to fitness, and well, not brought you to fitness, but brought you more to the NLP side of stuff, and how you got
Cool.
into that realm?
Awesome. Well, um, I go into this story a little bit in some of my courses, but basically in my late teens, early 20s, kind of went through a real rough patch where maybe even rewind back a little before that. Like as a kid, I was pretty much a fat kid. So I was like, went through a stage of being a fat kid, then got really athletic and really healthy. And then in my late teens, early 20s, basically started to not look after myself again, got into a physical kind of, position where I wasn't healthy, wasn't as active as I used to be. Mentally, emotionally, was having a lot of issues as well. Started to develop panic attacks, anxiety, bit of social phobia as well, where I couldn't even be out and around people. I basically was scared to leave the house at some points.
Yeah.
And basically what happened, there's a whole string of things that went along with it, but basically I've kind of realized that all my fears, etc., were self-created, and I started to look inward and started to research how the mind and how the body worked, and then started to get into the NLP, self-hypnosis, meditation, and basically studying the mind body. And the more I learned, the better my life became, and the more I personally changed. And then when I got out of my funk and basically started to get back into the world again, I started to think out what I actually enjoy doing and what I want to do, and it was about helping people and being active, because that's when I felt my best. So then I got into PT and basically went from a guy that couldn't leave his bedroom to working in the biggest gym in South Australia, and with had up to 5,000 members at one point. So went to work there, and then basically did PT, loved it, was working with a lot of clients, super busy gym, and started to notice like I just wanted to learn more and more, because I got, just loved learning, and did a whole heap of different courses on everything from rehab to performance to hands-on modalities like massage and all that kind of thing. And basically realized that there was a bit of a weird thing. It wasn't necessarily how much I told a client or the techniques I used with the client in terms of exercise or nutrition. Like some clients would get results and some clients wouldn't. And I was like, well, what's the difference? Like, I'd write the best program, I'd have the best nutrition guidelines, tailor-made to them, tailor-made to their, like, where they're at, what they want to do, rehab, all that was sorted. But then it was just like, why did some clients stick to it? Why did one not? And one, like, and I was like, why is this happening? Like, I know enough to get the results with exercise and nutrition. It's not that there's only a certain amount of things you need to get right. Like, why aren't they sticking to it? And why do some people get the results and others don't? And then I started thinking about what changed me, and it was working on my mental, emotional, the blocks I had, the issues that I was going through, and things just changed. It wasn't hard. It was easy once I got those things in alignment. So then I realized that if I could work with my clients at that level, that would be really powerful. So I started to study a bit more of the mind aspect and the mental, emotional healing aspect, and got into NLP hypnosis, and I started coaching my clients that way. And a lot of my PT clients used to like the non-sweat sessions where we'd sit down and do the coaching. We do one session a month of that and do the PT around that. And they're like, we get more out of that session than we do the PT. I'm like, wow. So then I started to move towards that more. And then I've been teaching it for 8-9 years now. And now predominantly just coach people that way. I still sometimes do programs and work with people that, struggle with getting results with other people. But generally, I just do the coaching now and teach mostly PTs how to coach people with these skills that we're going to talk a little bit about today.
Okay, so it's mostly PTs that you work with these days, correct?
Predominantly, like I still teach general because the skills are applicable to anyone, but I know the PT world really well, and I know how PT can take and apply it directly to working with themselves and their clients. So I do like to share it with PTs because I know they can, well, if they've got a client base, they can go out and straight away apply everything they've learned. But I still have a heap of coaches that come to me, or people that come to me that want to become coaches or just do their own personal development as well. But I do like to teach PTs because I know that world inside out because I've done it for so long.
Okay, cool. So what are the big problems that, like the most common problems that personal trainers generally come to you with?
So PTs, a lot of them just want to be better coaches, and they want to, number one, get their clients better results. And they've gone down the avenues of like studying more and more about exercise, studying more and more about nutrition, studying more and more about all that kind of stuff, which is great, and you need to know it. But they're still not getting the results they want for their clients. They, it's the same thing I experienced, but some are getting results, some aren't. And like, what's the difference? Why isn't everyone getting results? Because the program should work, the nutrition should work. There's no real reason why people aren't sticking. So to understand their clients better, understand how to motivate their clients, and to get their clients out of those sabotage loops where maybe they get results and they fall off and they go backwards. Maybe they aren't even getting results. They're not even getting that first couple of steps in that momentum. They're the common things that I see coaches coming in with, but also they start to see people open up to them, and they start, if you've been coaching someone for a while, they'll start to bring in their life and their problems and their issues. And as PTs, we want to help people, and like the client starts bringing up things, they want to know how to help them to, handle those situations, let go of the problems that are coming up and see past them. That's one of the common things as well. Like they have clients coming up with emotional things and they want to talk about them, but as a coach, they don't know how to deal with it. So they're the kind of things that I help equip them with what I teach.
Yeah, I agree. I don't remember if you've ever seen that meme that was like, what your mum thinks you do for the personal trainers, what you really, and then there's a picture of a personal trainer, but there's a psychiatrist with someone lying on the couch, what you really do. Yeah, so that's something so true that I've experienced myself, where clients come to you with problems and sometimes you're just taken aback with it and you're like, I don't know how to deal with that. So what advice do you have in terms of, we'll go back to the most common thing in terms of, almost adherence and staying to the program, and those clients that drop off and, constantly cancel on you and give you that type of grief and seem so keen at the beginning. What advice would you give to trainers that are currently in that situation?
Cool. So this is some of the stuff we cover in some of the courses we put together. But what I do recommend is really taking the time to understand your clients and what makes them tick and what's their motivation, what's their values. Because initially they've come to the gym because they want to get a result, but that might, be just a fleeting moment of away from get out of pain motivation where they feel bad enough that all of a sudden they've got to join a gym and do something different. And I talk about this a lot, is that, people generally move away from pain and towards pleasure. The away from pain gets people started, and that'll be the go join the gym. That'll be go get a PT. And that motivation is great because it gets people moving, but it doesn't last a long time sometimes. And when people have taken a few actions, they feel like they're far enough away from the scary thing that they're running away from, that they lose motivation and they don't keep going. So that's a common thing. But also what happens in those situations is someone's values aren't health and fitness or aren't some sort of derivative of that, or how they look or whatever. They're probably going to start to prioritize the things that are important to them. So if their work is a high value, if their family's a high value, the second those things need more attention, they're going to start putting more energy into that versus the gym. So that's where it can become, I've got to stay back at work, I can't make this session, or I've got to take the kids to so-and-so class, I've got to book another session next week, sorry about that. Those are the kind of things that will happen because the client's value set is what it is, and health and fitness might not be high on that priority list. So what we can do as a coach is learn to understand that for our clients, that once we understand that, learn to communicate in a way that the client sees that being and going to the gym and being healthy and fit actually helps their values of being more effective and efficient at work, getting results that way, being a good role model for their family, their friends, and being healthy and active, because that shows their family how to do that too. So there's a whole heap of different things that we go into with that, so people can understand what makes the client tick and not motivate them from what we're motivated by, because a lot of PTs are motivated by being healthy and active, getting the gains, feeling good, feeling stronger. They're the things that get us going, but for clients it might not be that. So we need to work out what makes them tick it is, and then help them to realize that and use what works for them to motivate them, and not our model of the world and not our belief system onto them as well.
Gotcha. So it's almost like letting them know what their end goal is, but linking in how what we do is going to take them to what their real values are only once we've determined what that really is.
Exactly. And also, like you talked about, what is their real goal? Because a lot of times people say, I want to lose 10 kilos, and I'll talk about this a lot in some of the stuff that we've done, but basically that's an away from goal, and it's about losing, and that has a bit of a thing psychologically. If you lose something, you want to find it, and you got that sense. They can talk about wording of the goal and that, but that's not their real goal. Their real goal is generally something emotional, generally something that's the real reason why they want to do it. It might be to feel healthy and confident in their own skin. It might be to feel sexy again. It might be to feel that they're just happy and content in themselves, which they haven't felt in a long time, and that's why they want to lose weight. So if we can get that real reason behind that and have their values, then they're two real powerful tools that we can always get our client to touch base on and say, look, is that actually going to help you to feel better in your skin again? Is it going to help you to live your values the way you need to? And get them to see that health is a vital part of that long term, then that's going to be a real powerful thing as well.
Okay. So like that rung home for me so much, because when I started tapping into this stuff personally, it opened up Pandora's box, so to speak, because I saw the loopholes that I was doing, myself and just justice as a coach, because, I had clients that would tell you that they want to look good naked, but then essentially they would go out on the weekends and sink piss and do everything else. And when you got down to the real why was they didn't want to be judged by their friends, for example. And as a result, as soon as their friends called on them, they would move away from the fitness and health goals because it wasn't their real value. So for a coach that has experienced that, how do you have that talk once you've kind of established what their real why is? What type of conversation might you have with the client to, almost give them a reality check or get them back on course if that isn't their real value, but they still want health and fitness goals?
Cool. Well, this is where you can take in a whole heap of tools. But like you said, if their goal is something like, fitting in with their peer group, we could also do chunking or digging, depending on what you want to call it, of what that's about. Like, what does that give them? Is it a sense of validation? Is it a sense of connection? Is it a sense of being accepted? And if we can get them to see that, what they want from their friends, they can actually give themselves, that's also really powerful, because one of the biggest things you can outside is a lot of times on the inside as well. And then we can get them to realize how they can give themselves a sense of acceptance, a sense of validation that they're going to get from other people. And we could even list actions, which might be, I'm going to feel accepted when I, do the things that I've committed to myself, or a connection with myself when I spend time with my body and move the way that makes me feel good about myself. So then, they can see that what they're going to do with their health and fitness is going to give them a lot of the things they're seeking externally, and vice versa. So that's also really powerful. One thing I like to do is kind of zoom out and kind of do that's cool for now. Let's imagine 6 months, 12 months, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. Where do those actions lead you? And it's like that crystal ball, that predicting the future, where you take someone down in the future and see what the actions are leading to. And is that still true in 20 years' time? Or has it gone completely askew? And what actions could you take now that are going to lead you to that same goal, but in a different way? Because, like we said, their true goal might be to feel a sense of validation or connection with their friends. And maybe they want that because it makes them feel accepted. How can we give them the same thing in a different way? Because a lot of the actions we take, like people, eating, foods when they get home, drinking wine, gambling, whatever, the action is just the way they're doing it now. It's not necessarily the best way to do it. So if we can find a better way to get the same result, like a lot of people smoke, they say they do it because it helps them relax. Well, physiologically, smoking can't help you relax. It actually causes stress on the body. It's the breathing that relaxes you. So if we can teach people to have breathing techniques instead of the smoking, that's giving them the same result without the negative side effects. That's the kind of thing we can start doing, troubleshoot, problem solve, and give them an alternative way to get the same end outcome they want, which is a feeling, which is a emotional change. And it's not necessarily the action that they're doing is the best way to do it.
That's awesome. Yeah. So how much do you think a coach's role has changed now? Because the original role of a PT where, come in, get fit, lose weight, tone up, do some sets and reps. How different do you see this being integrated into the new model where we need to start helping more people? Right?
Cool. Well, this is it. I think it's a chance for, like, my business is called Evolve, and I think the PT industry has evolved. And I think it's a real chance for PTs to evolve into this next level of coach where, you can just be a cheerleader and just count reps and, do that kind of thing for people. But there's that many PTs out there. You need to do something that takes you to the next level and above the other kind of trainers. Because you walk into a gym, there's a lot of people just doing that. Once you take people to this level, that's where you're going to get better results. You're going to get clients that stick with you because they love how you work with them and you actually understand them and what they want because you've taken the time to do that, and you know how to motivate them because you understand them and you've helped them to understand themselves. Like, that's priceless. If you can help someone to understand themselves, then that carries over to every area of life, And as a PT, a lot of things we can do have been you can get them on the internet. You can find out how to do a movement on the internet. So it's about how you connect with your client. Connection is the real commodity in the future, I think, because a lot of people, the computer is robbing our attention. There's so many different ways to get information. And as a source of information as a PT, that's great. But your ability to connect with people and help them connect with themselves is really, really a super important key. And, getting people healthy and getting them to connect with themselves in that way is going to be one of the best things they can do for their life. So really taking on this level as a coach. And obviously, there are certain things we can and can't do as PTs with the level of training. And obviously to do the mental, emotional work, you need training to do that as well. But I think if we can take on that next level, which people do come to us for anyway, it really, really gives you another toolbox. It gives you another stream of income. It also adds another dimension to who you are as a trainer. And, like I said, a lot of my clients just love the sit-down chat sessions where we're working on stuff, getting them to have some realizations and breakthroughs. That shifted everything for the month, more than adding another 5 kilos to their deadlift or whatever. So it just takes, as a PT, you do want that other dimension to who you are. If someone walks into a gym, they see 20 trainers at the gym. What makes you stand out? What makes you different? And what makes them want to come back for more? If they're coming back and they're progressing with their exercise, that's great. But if you're helping them have big life shifts, which changing the body does, but if you can change the mind, then it ripples through everything, I think. So it's huge. And that's why I spend most of my time doing that now.
Okay. So have you got any cool stories of people that have, like clients of yours that have adopted this and then just come back to you with kind of wonder stories with the clients that they've, put this into practice with?
Yeah, well, so personally with me as a coach, some of my favorite examples, not even just exercise-wise, I think some of the people I work with had dramatic physical changes, but I remember one of my clients came to me one time and she just started crying and I was like, what's wrong? She goes, nothing's wrong. I'm like, okay, good. What's happening? She goes, you've changed my life. I'm like, what do you mean? And I said, one of those things that we worked on last week, she had huge weight loss and, for me that's cool, but some of this other stuff is cooler. She goes, I had the thing we talked about talking to people, this and that. I said, yeah. She goes, you won't believe it. On the weekend I went out with other people, kind of like what you're talking about. And normally I'd have to drink to even feel comfortable around other people. But what happened was I didn't even drink. I just felt so comfortable in myself that I just connected with people, had the best night, and made a whole heap of new friends, and it was amazing. And I didn't even need to drink to do it. And those kind of stories are really powerful for me because obviously that's going to help her fitness goals as well, not drinking and all that kind of stuff. But knowing that she had the courage inside of herself and the confidence to just be herself was really powerful. So that's one that kind of sticks with me. And one of my clients I trained for years, and she was a beast. She could deadlift more than some of the young guys in the gym and all that through exercise. She lost a lot of weight and got strong, but also just her who she became as a person was really beautiful to watch as well. So that was really cool. Heaps of stories. A guy that Matteo as well. This is a really cool story. One of my one-day workshops that I run, I do a goal-setting technique where we help your unconscious mind to already experience the goal as if it was real, and it's going to help you to create it when you leave. And basically, he set this goal of I think it was making 20K more within, I think it was a year or something, and have part-time job doing that while still being able to do PT, and set it for a year's time. And anyway, he contacts me within 2 weeks and it's already happened. And he's filling out saying, I can't believe this has already happened. So then he actually did my certification training, and he put a couple more goals in his future, and some of them have already happened. And he had one of an apartment that he wants to have that wasn't even there in the real world, some place. He said, what's really funny is where I imagined it, there's not even an apartment thing there. But what happens, they knock down the building where it is, and now they're building apartments. And it's just stuff like that the world changes when you change what you're looking for, because it's all a reflection of us, and we know about quantum physics and all that kind of thing where basically we perceive the reality and we create it. It's really, really trippy stuff like that happens when you learn to run your mind properly. So it's really, really cool.
It's pretty cool. It's good stuff. So what can, obviously there's levels to this, as you said, from the course, from the program, what can coaches expect to take away from this?
Cool. So the stuff put together is amazing, and I try to make it the 80-20, so the best information that's going to get you moving and get you the results with yourself and clients quickly.
That's what we do.
We talk about perception and how we interact with the world. So how we're both different, how we see the world differently, and why that occurs and how to understand that, because that's going to help you to understand yourself better and how you interact and coach your clients, because we're going to know that what they're hearing and what they're experiencing is completely different to us, and the more we understand it, the better we can coach them. So there's some great information on that. And then we started going into belief systems and how important and how valuable they are and how they can get us results or they can hinder us from getting results. And we go through this little bit of a technique where we go through and analyze what yours are and kind of see what you've got based on those things, which is really cool.
Beautiful.
We do a couple of explorations into yourself where we first explain what values are and how they filter our world and how we unconsciously filter for what's important to us. And then I run you through some activities to kind of discover what your values are, then also use those to motivate yourself and link them to your goals, and then how to do that for clients as well, which is awesome.
Very nice.
And then, like I talked about earlier in this, is getting really specific with languaging around a goal. What's the true goal? How to word a goal in a way that creates the best. Because we've got to understand that every time we communicate, every time we write something down, every time we hear something, the words we use are really, really powerful because they create responses in our nervous system. They create images in our mind, feelings in our bodies. They create a neurological, physiological response to everything that we say. Like our hormonal system responds to everything we say, our immune system. So when we have a goal, we want to make sure that it's in alignment. It's a yes, yes, yes at every level where, what we're saying makes us have great pictures, feel good thoughts, and feel great about it. Not a sense of like, I want to lose 10 kilos. And then you have a picture of you struggling, working hard for it, feeling like you're losing something,
Gotcha.
feeling a sense of loss.
Yep.
Already that's shutting you down unconsciously. So we want to make those shifts with that. So I've got a whole bit of a sequence that we go through to help you to line up your goals, but also help you do this with clients as well. So there's a whole heap of stuff like that in there and more stuff that, obviously you will need to do the program to see. But yeah, it's really cool. And I think, I'll talk you through the process and you have the skills to then take that and do it with your clients as well, which is super powerful, and you'll see huge results with this stuff.
Boom. Looking forward to it, man. Cool.
Cool.
All right. I think that'll do. Anything else you want to add? Dying moments?
I'm really enjoying this, and if you guys want to know more, obviously get in touch with
Oh,
John
yes,
Ryan,
of course. How do they get in touch with
I'd
you?
love to know what we got.
Yeah, I'll put a link for you in the bottom of this as well. Cool.
Awesome.
All right, guys. Hope you enjoyed that. Lots to come in the program. So that's it. Thanks for joining us, Paul. Speak soon. Cheers, buddy.
Keep evolving. Ciao.
Bye.